Hi and welcome again to another tutorial. This time we're going to do something a bit differently. For the last couple of tutorials what I did was I showed you guys how to draw in Sujimori style, meaning in a Pokemon type of style. But I didn't really show you how to get to the line art, how to get the actual structure of the Pokemon and the anatomy and the style in which Nintendo and Game Freak used to turn, for example, an animal into an authentic Pokemon. And so this is my attempt to show you how I do it. Honestly, there's no real trick on how to do it. It's just lots of practice and looking at a lot of Pokemon references and kind of going about that way. So, for today, I decided to take this fish that one of my good friends on Instagram drew, and we're going to change his design into something a bit more Pokemon-like. All right. Um, okay. So the first thing I usually do is if I'm taking an animal and I want to turn it into a Pokemon, I take the most salient or the most attractive attributes of the animal that I must or that I really want to include in the Pokemon. So looking at this design, definitely the color scheme is something I'd want to keep, and the eyes and the mouth and maybe these whiskers I think are pretty cool. The spikes on the back are probably something I'm gonna add to the drawing as well. But you see in this drawing everything's a bit more detailed. Whereas Pokemon, it needs to be a bit more symmetrical. In the real world with animals, you won't find necessarily that symmetry between patterns and shapes on bodies and limbs, etc. But in Pokemon, there is kind of like that asymmetry. Alright, so since we're drawing a fish, now let me see if I can get both these screens on so that you guys can see. I'm going to close all these windows. Oop, what the hell is this? Quick bar? Yeah, I removed the quick bar. Alright, so now I'm just removing stuff to make a bit more room so you guys can see. I wonder if I can make this smaller. Maybe not. Maybe I can do that. Okay. Anyways, you guys get the picture. So, first thing I want to do is draw a fish shape. Now what I've done is I've taken a few references such as Magikarp and Feebas. It's going to be a basic evolution, so you always want to think about exactly where your drawing is going, if he's going to have an evolution later on. So these are things to keep in mind. So is my fish going to be round like Magikarp and Feebas, or is it going to be a bit more, is it going to be longer like Relicanth? Or maybe not this guy, but maybe its evolution would have a more complex body shape, kind of like Sharpedo. In this case, I think I'm going with the Magikarp because it's the most basic. So, what I want to do first is draw that body shape that I want. So I'm using Paint Tool Sai right now. It's a digital drawing program. I'm using a Wacom tablet, Cintiq 12W, whatever. You guys can apply any of these things on paper and pencil or any kind of tablet you're using. This is really to keep in mind the kind of the method in which I use to turn an animal or turn something into Pokemon-like, or what they call Sujimori style. So let's get on with this fish. First I'm going to start with the body. It's going to be a bit crappy, my drawing, but anyways, this is just a rough sketch. Alright, you want something like this, and I'm going to do a lot of erasing depending on how you want your Pokemon, where the mouth is going to be. You know what, I think I'm going to make him slimmer. Alright, I'm also going to keep that kind of mouth. I'm going to use the eraser brush too a lot. So this is just a really rough sketch, but you'll get the idea. Alright. Alrighty. I have a general outline of the main body. Something else right away I'd like to do is get on these spikes. So you see they're pointing sharp outwards. Instead I'm going to reverse it because I'm just going to make it a bit more cartoon-like. They're going to be coming in like this. Now this is really improvised. You can do whatever you want, really. I just think something like this would be cool. It's important to make sure everything's even. Another attribute from the original design I'm going to take is probably this mustache. I kind of like that. Now in Pokemon,